transform your home this spring. I have got 10 gorgeous Dollar Tree DIYs that will bring fresh, budget-friendly decor into every corner. Let's jump into these easy, stunning spring decor projects. Hi, I'm Loli. I am so glad you are here. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. This one is quick, easy, but stunning. I took one of these trays from Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it with 2 coats, just the top portion, with that spray paint from Rust-Oleum. Then I took 4 of these carrots. This comes in a pack of 2. It comes a bunny and one of these. And I'm showing you 3 here, but I use 4. Here I'm going to just go ahead and position this on here. The top of the salt pepper shakers have this flat section here, and then one piece is like curved. It is perfect for little feet for a tray like this. So I'm going to position them as you see right there. And the bottom section of this tray here have like 3 little bumps to kind of elevate it. So I had to position this in a way that the carrots did not touch those. And then here you can see how I shift this one to the side and position my 4th carrot right here underneath. And I'm using that little bevel edge as a guide. Then I'm taking some of this UHU glue from Amazon. I will link in my description box. And I'm adding it all in the top section of the carrots and replacing my tray over it. Then I put something heavy over them, over this piece, and let it sit overnight. And look how cute this is looking. It is the perfect little riser. You can use it for candle florals or whatever you like. I'm going to use this bunny that I got from Dollar Tree. This year, it is $5. You're going to remove the tag off of it and also this jute cord here. Just wasn't that pretty for me. I'm going to be doing something different with it. I took some of this baby spread that I got from Temu. I believe it was Temu. Yes. And they come in small little sections here. So I'm going to just go ahead and take off all the stems from there. I used about 4 or 5 of these pieces. I cut off the little section here that would have connected to the stem because it was just a bit too bulky for me. And we are going to begin gluing these to the bottom section of our bunny. And this is why we cut it off. Otherwise, this would have not allowed our bunny to sit properly. And then I just began placing the pieces there, trying to keep it as flat as possible to make sure that the florals do not keep the bunny from sitting properly as well. So we're going to take the flattest portion of the florals and put it towards the bottom, and the one that stick out towards the head of the bunny. And I kept doing that until I went all around. I started spacing them out like this until I went all the way around, and then I came in with another layer and also put it in between each one of them. And this is what I ended up with. Now we're going to bring our little tray back, or a little riser back, and this bunny sits perfectly in the middle. To make sure that it stays in place, because I did experience some lifting anyway, I'm going to add a generous amount of hot glue to the bottom and glue it on the bottom. But hot glue is not permanent, so whenever I like, I can always just remove that bunny and do a different thing with this riser. I glued my bunny right there at the center, and then just to embellish it a bit, I took this ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. I thought it was a perfect addition to my bunny's neck. So I'm going to wrap a piece of it right around the neck right here and secure it with a bit of hot glue. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit that like button. And while you're there, please let me know in the comment section where are you watching from. I love to know how far my videos are reaching. And please subscribe and share this video with someone who will enjoy it just as much as you do. Thank you so much. All right, next, I took the same ribbon. I took a piece of it, and I'm going to create a bow with it. I'm just going to crisscross it, as you see there, kind of like making an awareness bow, and then cinching it in the middle. And then I just took a piece of jute cord and tied it on the center. When making a bow like this, it's important to make sure that you cinched everything exactly how you want it, because sometimes your bow can come out wonky. So just make sure you cinch it evenly and your bow looks very nice before you go ahead and tighten that knot. And then once I was happy with it, I just did a double knot in the back and cut off the excess. And I just cut off the excess on my ends as well, but just cutting it in an angle. Now we're going to take a bit of hot glue, place it in the back of our bow, and place the bow right there at the neck of our bunny. And that is it for this project. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about this one. I absolutely love it. Look how adorable that is. This little gnome. I got this gnome from the Dollar Tree, and I went over and painted it with this white. Once that was painted and dry, I took some more of the same paint and I am just stippling it onto where the beard will be at. I want this to have the texture of hair, so this is why I'm doing this. I just kept going until it kind of looked like hair, pretty much. When I moved up to the part that is close to the nose and to the burlap piece there, I was very careful not to get any paint onto the burlap because I want to leave that exactly how it is. So I just try to use, my brush at different angles, trying to avoid that area. Once I was satisfied, I went over and painted over the mittens and the butterfly just to remove any excess paint that came from the stippling before. The butterfly was kind of flat for me, so I took the same paint and I am creating some grooves on it using a thick layer of paint just to give this a little bit more depth. I did that with the top part of the butterfly, the bottom part of the butterfly, and the middle part. You will see there is some raised area. That is just some paint that I added just using this technique I'm showing you here. Once I was done with the butterfly, I moved on to the feet. Here, the piece of wood had tiny little grooves, and I just wanted that to be filled in. So I just used paint to do that. Then I dried away my heat gun, and then I'm coming in with the celery from Waverly, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the gnome's hat, its mitten, and its feet. I just make sure to fill in all my green, and then once everything was nice and covered, I am coming in and making sure that I do the strokes in an intentional way. I'm trying to make this look like it has a little bit more depth to it, so I just try to make it look like it had different shadows. And I repeated the same technique with the mittens. With the mittens, I had to make sure to, carve out from the butterfly the mitten itself right there. And then I just filled it in. And I came back in with the brush being a little bit drier. And I'm just, taking off some of the paint, creating some variation in color just to give it a little bit more texture and a natural feel. I did the exact same thing with his little feet. Look at him, guys. Isn't he look so cute? I love this little guy. If you see right there, I am trying to carve out the same image of the mitten and the shoes just to give it more variation, and you can see that it's a little bit more defined. It's not as flat as if you just painted it the same color. Now we are going to use this yellow paint from, I think it's sunset yellow. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I used that from Apple Barrel, and I'm going to go ahead and do a very light coat of it, and I'm going to go in and keep blending it in until it has the same different variation, and you can see some of the white poking through, and this came out so cute. Look at it, guys. For the middle and the indentation, I used this color from Apple Barrel. It is called Sun-Kissed Peach, and I just filled in I just filled in the parts that I created the grooves in just to give this a little bit more definition and depth, and I put it right on the nose because I'm going to use the same color to go ahead and paint the nose. And we are done with this little guy for now. Now it's time to go to the next step. We're not done with this DIY though. And see there, you see the texture of the hair? I love that. All right, so I got this wreath from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove the jute cord and the tag, and I'm going to position my gnome right on there. So I just set him right on the ledge, trying to make sure that his feet can also be seen from all that greenery there. And I just attach it using a tiny bit of hot glue in the areas in which the gnome touched the circle. Then I came in with this polka dotted ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and create a bow for the top of his hat. So I just folded it like you see there. I scrunched it up in the middle, tied it off with a piece of jute cord, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess ribbon. Now that that part of the bow is completed, I'm going to take another piece of the same ribbon and I'm going to create some tails. So I just cut off another piece, put it in the back. I kind of made like a V, like a backwards V or a downward V to complete the tails there. And I just dovetail the ends of the tail really quickly. And then we're gonna move on to sticking it onto our gnome and stick on the bow as well. In order to keep the shape of the tails, I added a little bit of hot glue in the areas where I had to fold them in order to create this V. And I'm just going to press it down to make sure that that is nice and secure. And then I remove it really quickly and glue it onto the gnome's hat right there. Then I come in with the bow and I'm going to hot glue it right onto the very tip of that tail. And there is how it's looking so far. And here we're going to add a little hanger. So I'm going to use the same exact ribbon that I used before. I am folding it. I'm creating like a loop and I'm going to stick it right on the back of the gnome. So I thought I was done here, but I asked my family what they thought about this. And they said, oh, it looks like an old decor piece from the 90s. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta brighten it up. So I decided to just dry brush some white onto the ring of the wreath, making sure to take care of the sides and the back as well. And here it is, all completed. Let me know how you like it. I love this little guy. I don't think it looks as great in the camera as it really does in person. Let me know what you think, if you had rather the wood stay the natural or you prefer this whitewash look. For this project, I'm going to use one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to stain it with my antique wax from Waverly. I really wanted it to be stained very lightly, so I used a wet wipe to apply it completely onto my surface. Once the wax dried, I'm taking some of my white paint in the same baby wipe that I used, and I just want to give this more of a dull look. So I just wiped it and blended it right into the same stain that I used, just making sure that I had no harsh lines, just to dull down the paint as I said before. Once that dried, I took some of my masking tape and I'm going to tape off the middle section of this round. Now I'm coming in using my Black & Decker paint and primer in the color bright white, and I gave this two complete, well actually 3 coats, painting both the bottom and the top section that was taped off. While that dried, I took one of these welcome signs from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it with my celery color from Waverly. I used a dauber because I figured this was the best to not have as many streaks as you get when you use a paintbrush. I dried it with my heat gun and then back to the wood round. I had a small area in which the paint the white paint bleed through. So what I did is I took some more of the antique wax from Waverly, and I'm going to go ahead and go through the entire seam, just adding like a small border just to accentuate and at the same time cover any little imperfections. Then I came through with a piece of paper towel, just wiping off the excess and blending things in. Now it's time to attach this to the wood round. I just added a bit of hot glue in the areas in which they touch and placed it right down. Then I used these florals from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut them into individual stems, and I'm going to use 3 stems for each side. I'm just going to create a little swatch. Once I bunch the flowers together, I am just, turning them for them to be nice and neat, and bending the stems of the roses towards me a bit to make sure that the beautiful flowers are seen when I create this swatch. And then I just took a little piece of jute cord and I tied it on, and then I took another piece of jute cord, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap the jute completely around the middle of these 2 stems until they are nice and secure. I am not doing it too tight because I do want to maneuver this later on in case I need to readjust my flowers. Then I went ahead and I took a bit of hot glue and I attached the swatch right to the top middle portion of the wood round. And then I took some of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to create a bow. I just kept going like in a cross motion each time, trying to make the ribbon go on an angle so I can create 3 loops on each side, just like you see me there. And then I took and I scrunched it into the middle and tied it off with a piece of jute cord. I gave it a nice double knot and cut off the excess. Then I took another piece of the ribbon, and after I fluffed up my bow, I'm going to take another piece of the fabric or the ribbon there. I folded it into 3, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it right in the middle of my bow to hide the jute cord. And what I did, I just wrapped it around it, taped the very top of the piece of ribbon onto the bow, and then make sure that it was nice and taut, and did the same thing with the bottom of the bow. I love doing this because it gives the bow a nice finished look. Then I'm going to go ahead and check my things there, make sure that everything is nice and neat. And we need some tails. So I'm going to go ahead and take some more of the ribbon, and I'm going to create a loop like I did before in order to have the ribbon look in the same way. Since it's only printed on one side, I added a little bit of hot glue to make sure that that bend that I created is nice and secure. Then I'm going to go ahead and take that piece and dovetail the edges. I wanted to do a very deep dovetailing, so I make sure that I went pretty high when I was cutting. And there you see my tails. I'm going to attach it to the swatch first, trying to avoid that leaf that kept going to get stuck in there. But I went ahead and stuck it on there, added a little bit of hot glue on top of that ribbon top there also. And then I attached the bow right on top, and we have a nice cute little bow with the perfect little tails. Now I'm going to go ahead and fluff up my flowers, make sure that everything is looking nice and neat. Just adjusting, that's why I didn't glue it too much. So now we are going to create a little loop to hang our wreath from, and I did another loop like I showed you before, and I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach it to the back section of this wreath. But wait, I'm not done yet. I'm going to go ahead and take some of these beads from the Dollar Tree. I am splitting them in half. I don't remember how many I did, guys. I pretty much just did a pile hoping that it was enough. So then I took my wreath and I'm going to go ahead and put my beads on the edges. I used one bead to help me with the spacing, and once I knew exactly what the spacing would look like, I just, went and eyeballed it and completely added my little beads to the entire circumference of this wreath. I laid them out first because I wanted to make sure that it was nice and neat, and then I went back with some wood hot glue and I attached it to the entire portion of my wreath form. Then I took 2 stems of boxwood and glued them at each side where the flowers are, drooping down from the edges of the wood round. Then I took one of these home signs that come in a packet too from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and paint it using my celery paint from Waverly, and I just gave it a single coat of paint. And then I attached it to the bottom of my wood round using some hot glue. And bam, this project is complete. Let me know how you like it. I love it. For this project, I used one of these birdhouses from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and use my Waverly Antique Wax to paint the roof area and the little base as well. I found it easier to use a small brush to do all the tiny ridges and corners, and then I'm going to go in with a bigger brush for the rest. To remove that piece of cord that I had in the middle, I just used my Cricut weeder, and I was able to pull it right out of the hole. And then I completed the back, and I am wiping off the excess, and I'm going to go ahead and dull it down by swiping some white paint onto the roof like I did with the previous DIY. And what I did to the top, I did to the little base as well. Then I came in with a small brush and some of my Black & Decker print and primer, and I am doing all the little edges with a small brush, making sure not to get paint on my stained surfaces. And once that was done, I came in with a bigger brush and I did 3 coats of paint to the middle section of the house. While the house dried, I took one of these crates from the Dollar Tree, removed the sticker, and I gave it 3 coats of Black & Decker print and primer paint. Then I took one of these dowel rods that I got from Walmart. Guys, for some reason I can't find dowel rods at my local Dollar Trees. Are you guys having shortages as well? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I took some of the antique wax and I stained the dowel rod with it using a wet wipe to remove any excess. Then I came in and I did the same, and I added some paint to the dowel rod and blended it in. Then I took some of these craft sticks from Dollar Tree, and I'm just cutting off the little edge for one of the sides of it. I don't know what was the deal with this craft stick. I could not cut it, so I had to go long ways, and I just cut each side until they met in the middle. Then I cut the other side. I just put the piece of craft stick against the little crate and to make sure what size it was. Then that I did the first one and it was fine, I went and I traced it over others, and I'm just going to cut a total of 8 pieces of craft sticks. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint it with my celery Waverly paint in both the back front and the little edges as well. And now that my craft sticks are dry, I'm going to take the crate, put it right there, and we're going to add these little pieces onto the corner. So I just make sure one side was flush against the edge, and then the other piece will be a little bit out of the edge but flush with the paint, the craft stick. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you can see there what I mean. Like I just place it down, put a combination of wood glue and wood hot glue, and added my little corners that way. And this is how it's looking so far. Now that the birdhouse is dry, I took some of the same celery paint I used previously and paint in the little flower that is at the very top. Now it's time to assemble everything. So I took my drill and I took a drill bit that was the same size as my dowel rod, and I'm going to go ahead and mark an X going from one side to the other and tracing the center. And then I'm going to drill right at that point where the 2 lines meet. And I'm gonna just wedge my dowel rod in there nice and tight, and I'm gonna put a little bit of hot glue in the corners to hold it in place. Then I came in with some of this floral moss, floral foam from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna cut a piece that is big enough to go inside the crate, but I wanted those little ends to be covered with the moss. So I put the moss on top of each of the sides of the floral foam there, so it will come out of the little handle sides of the crate. I don't have to worry about filling it out later. And then I just added hot glue to the top and completely covered that with moss as well. Then I cut the excess moss to make everything nice and neat, and make sure to fill in all the places that were any bald spots. Now it's time to go ahead and put the birdhouse right in the middle of my crate there, just pushing it down, completely down into the middle of my crate. And we are going to embellish this with some of these roses from the Dollar Tree. I placed them on each of the corners of the crate there first, and then I went over and put one in the middle of the long sides of the crate, if that makes any sense. You can see there exactly what I mean. So I put 3 in the front, 3 in the bottom. And then I'm coming in with some of these yellow roses from the Dollar Tree. This one have a little bit of a speck of pink in there. I thought they work well together, so I'm going to add those in between of each one of the pink roses. My friends, don't forget to subscribe. It is free and it means the world to me. Then I came in with some boxwood that I got from Walmart, and I did 2 little stems I cut off and I put on each side of the little birdhouse. And this is how it's looking so far. Then I took a bow and put it right on that hole, and look at that, guys. It is absolutely gorgeous. Look at how cute that is. I love this one, guys. I cannot tell you which one is my favorite. You guys, please let me know in the comment section below which one is your favorite, and if you like to recreate it, and if you do recreate it, please send me a photo. I would love to see. For this DIY, I used one of these picture frames from the Dollar Tree, and what I'm going to do is remove the back end and all of the insides of it, and I'm going to go ahead and put aside the glass in the frame, and I'm going to be working with the back piece over here. From the pack of napkins, I decided to go with this one. So I want to find a color that will tie these together. So I needed to create a color. I didn't quite have a color that I could use. So I took one of the creamsicle color from Apple Barrel, and I'm adding some red to it in small increments until I get to the tone of peach. It's not peach, it's more like a guava color. So I just kept adding a drop of the red until I got to the perfect color, and here with the second try, there it is. So the first thing I did, I took the napkin and I traced it on the back of the backing paper of the picture frame, and I'm going to color in the sides in which the napkins won't be showing, and I'm going to color the inside part using my Rust-Oleum cream color, chiffon cream is called, yes. And I'm going to completely cover the middle in order to have a nice uniform finish when I apply my napkin. I dried it with my heat gun, and then I'm going to see here how it works. I wanted this to be more like of an ombre effect, so I took my paintbrush that was pretty wet, and I took a little bit of paint and I just brought it in a little bit more. Then I tested to see where my napkin was falling. And now that I'm happy with the back end, I went over and I'm cutting the portion of napkin that I'll be using for this DIY. For this one, I decided to use one entire side of the napkin. Once I had my napkin cut off, I took a little bit of watered down paint, and I'm just applying it softly into the edges of the napkin, just to help me with that ombre effect so everything ties together properly. Then I removed the second layer of paper from the napkin, and I'm placing it down to see exactly how it will look in my surface. I'm very happy with it, so I'm taking some more of that paint,
And I just want to put it all along the edges, so I watered it down a bit and I'm applying it to the top and the bottom as well, just in case my napkin overlaps a bit. That will help me camouflage that. Once that was dry, I went over and put my napkin back in the area. As you can see, I used my heat gun to help me with the drying process. And now I'm taking my Mod Podge and I'm just going to completely cover the entire surface. I did do a pretty thin layer because I did apply some paint to that, and I just didn't want this paper to become kind of soggy with all the different layers of paint I put on it. So I just did a thin layer of Mod Podge, making sure that it was a nice cohesive or a nice even coat, so every part of the napkin will be down. And once it dried, I placed my napkin down and make sure it was the position that I wanted it, and I took my little heat press here. I just got this one, guys. I love it. It's so tiny. I have a little bit bigger one, but this one just works for small projects like this. And I went over it and the heat activated my Mod Podge, and this came out so nicely. It was not wrinkled or anything. And then I'm gonna just apply a little bit of Mod Podge on the sides as well, just to, make everything a little bit more uniform. And I did that to the sides of the napkin and the areas that I painted. Once my entire surface was dry from the Mod Podge, I just put it into my picture frame, place everything back in, and this is how we ended up looking. I love this. I love how the way that the frame plays with the colors inside. And I'm not sure. For now, this is it. And I'm not done yet. I took it back onto the drawing board and I'm going to add some of these flowers to it. First thing I did, I pull apart and I'm just going to dissect it. I'm going to cut the flowers into two small individual little stems, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the plastic piece from where the leaves are, and we are going to add this to the corner of the picture frame. Then I took some jute cord and I'm going to make a bow. I just wrapped the jute cord around my hand a couple of times and then tied it in the middle using another piece of jute cord and glued it onto the middle of the flowers. And voila, we are done. Here it is. Let me know how you like it. I love it. For this project, I'll be using 2 of these recycled tins and my chiffon cream paint, and I'm going ahead and paint them. The magic of the camera. And I'm going to be using the same napkins that I used for the previous DIY, but I will be using the floral print that's at the bottom. I made sure to cut them as straight and as even as possible. I checked to make sure that it will wrap completely around, and it didn't, but don't you worry, we will solve that problem in just a little while. I removed the second ply and put it to the side for now, and I'm going to take another of the napkins and I'm going to go ahead and remove the floral portion from it so we can use it for this DIY as well. This piece actually had some extra paper, so I'm going to use that piece that I'm going to cut off of this one to complete the other piece missing from the other piece of flowers. Next, I took some Mod Podge and I'm going to go ahead and attach the tissue paper to it. I remove the additional layer that it had applied, and I'm going to be adding Mod Podge in very small sections, and I'm going to use the rings of the can to help me stay straight or stay in the same level as I'm going around the entire can. I also made sure to tap the paper onto the ridges to make sure that everything stays nice and symmetrical and that the indentations are noticeable. It just shows an extra layer of texture on here, and it makes it also look like this is completely part of the can and not something that we just Mod Podge. So just use the brush while it's still damp in the same direction of the rings of the can to be able to mold the paper into those rings as well. Friends, if you have not done so yet, I will like if you will consider subscribing. It is free and it means the world to me. And voila, here they are completed. And now we're going to take some of this floral foam from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut pieces big enough to go inside of each one of these cans. I just use my scraper to make those cuts. Then I take these two floral picks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the tags from them and cut them short enough to go into these. First, I try to just do it like just cutting a section and sticking it on there just the way it is, but it didn't quite, sit the way that I expected. It was a little bit too high up, so I wanted to be lower to the can, so I cut individually each one of the flowers off, trying to cut everything at the same level in which they were in the pick to, maintain that look that it had originally. I fluffed my flowers and did the same thing with the other can. And here they are all completed. I absolutely love this. The colors are so serene, beautiful for this spring. Let me know what you think. For this project, I used one of these boards that I got during summertime at the Dollar Tree. I completely removed the embellishment from the front. It took a little bit of elbow grease and heat, but we got it done. Then I sanded it down a bit to remove the hanger, and now I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum chiffon paint and I'm going to completely cover it. Once it dried, I sanded down the surface, dusted it off, and we are ready for the next part. I'm going to be using this napkin once again, and I'm going to cut the bottom of it. I'm going to be using the flower section for the next step of this DIY. Then I took those pieces, separated the tissue in two separate plies, and I'm going to be using the ply that is printed. I am going to cut the excess off, and I'm going to put it to the side for now. I'm going to go ahead and use my square ruler, and I'm going to create some lines to help me guide in where I'm going to be placing the napkin on. Then I applied Mod Podge to those two sections, and while those dried, I decided to work on another piece of napkin. I'm going to cut one section where the bicycle is and the wording, and I'm going to be removing the tissue paper layer from the back as well. Then I decided that I was going to Mod Podge the entire board. I should have done it from the beginning, but I didn't. So I Mod Podged the entire surface evenly, and now that everything dried, I'm going to put my napkin on each corner, and I'm going to be using my little heat press to put it in place. And then once that was done, I used my sanding block to sand off the excess napkin as well. Then I took the paint that I created in the beginning, and I'm going to put it all along the inner perimeter of the board. Then I added the same paint along the edges of the napkin as well. Then I positioned it in the lower portion of the wood piece here and pressed it down using my mini press. Now it's time to embellish things. I took these flowers from the Dollar Tree. I cut off the picks off a bit, and I put together 2 bundles of 3 of the picks, and I just tied jute cord in the top part and then rolled the jute cord along the entire stem until I got to the length desired and cut off the excess. I repeated this process for 2 of these bundles. Then I added greenery from the Dollar Tree
on the sides. Here you'll see the flowers that I got those from. They were the perfect size for this project. Using this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to be creating a bow, and using another burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to cover the jute cord in the middle. Then I prepped the hanger. I took the hanger the wood sign came with, and I'm going to just simply thread some of these natural beads onto the jute cord just to give this another level of style. And then I replace the hanger. Here it is. Now it's time to attach these small little trees that I made onto my board. I first attached the fern and then added more hot glue to the back and placed down my jute cord bunches. I went over and attached the bow using a bit of hot glue as well. Dovetailed the ends of my bow. I should have done this before I attached it, but hey, let's just go with the flow here, right? And then this is what it's looking like, but I'm not done yet. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 jute cord bows, and I'm going to attach them to the bottom section of the jute cord flower bundles. And now we are actually done, and here it is. I love this piece, guys. It came out so awesome. It is so airy, it's so happy, and it goes well with the previous DIYs. I am truly loving these, guys. Let me know what you think. Which one is your favorite? For this project, I'm going to use this little thing from the Dollar Tree, and I'm painting it white. And then I'm going to use this blue chalk paint, and I'm painting it blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some hot glue and add it to the top. Add a combination of Spanish moss and floral moss to the top, just trying to simulate, you know, when the grass begins to get green, but it's not quite there yet. I try to make sure to fill out all the little sections, making sure to have a nice healthy amount. So this will be a nice flat surface for the next part of this project. Then I took one of these bunnies from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue it right in the center of the grass. Then I took some of these yellow flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut them individually with a very short stem, and we are going to position them around our bunny. I just used a very tiny amount of hot glue, and I placed it in the bottom of the flower there, and I'm going to do that. I think I used about 5 flowers, just putting them in different places, trying to make this look as cute as possible. Look at how adorable the contrast between that yellow and that blue looks, and how the yellow complements the green. I really love this combination. Let me know what you guys think. The same flowers came with this greenery as well, so I just took the stem off and I'm trimming it closest to the last leaves that it has on there, and I'm gluing it on right next to the bunny in that space where there's no flowers, just to give this another point of interest. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, I'm going to ask you to please give me a thumbs up. This is how YouTube knows that I'm doing a good job, and it pushes my video to more viewers. Thank you so much for your support. Now that my bunny and my flowers are positioned in the place I want them, I'm going to go ahead and use this little fishbowl-like vase from the Dollar Tree, and I just removed the sticker and placed it down. Then I'm going to add some of this yellow ribbon that also came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to attach it there where both the fishbowl vase and the candle holder meet, just to make it like a more seamless transition and bring some more cuteness to this arrangement. Then I took some more ribbon and I'm going to create a bow with it.
As you see there, all I do is just, cross the tails and then bring down the bottom loop, tie it with some jute cord, cut off the excess jute, and usually I cover the jute, but here I kind of forgot. I just went over and did dovetail the ends, just folded it in half like you see there, and then cut upward to create those little dovetails. Here I jumped the gun and I glued my bow onto the piece. I forgot to cover up my jute cord. So we're going to just go ahead and figure a workaround here. So I just took a piece of my ribbon and I'm going to trim it into a tiny little piece. I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue onto the fabric there, or the ribbon. Add it to my top of my jute cord there, and then do the same thing with the bottom, and there you go, voila, we covered that up. Now we are going to distress the bottom section. I just add some white paint to a very fluffy paintbrush there, and I'm just giving it some distress using that white. And here it is, guys, all completed. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. For this one, I'm going to use one of these cloches from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the bottom section, and I'm going to go ahead and take some white paint, and we are going to paint it. Then we're going to take some of this blue chalk paint, and we're going to paint both those pieces on there. Then we're going to come in with some of this gel super glue, and I'm going to add it to different spaces in between here, just to be able to have space to also put some hot glue so I can continue on working while the gel super glue sets. Okay, so while it's setting, I'm going to go ahead and take some hot glue and put it all at the top there of the cloche bottom. And then before that dries, I'm going to go ahead and put some of the same mixture that I used for the previous DIY in there, making sure to make it nice and lump free and flat. I trimmed it up a little bit, just the edges, because we're going to be using the cloche later on. So we want to make sure that nothing spills over to the side so we have good clearance. But I'm going to use a little hole in the middle, but I forgot to leave it open. So I had to take a skewer and open it up. And then I'm taking one of these yellow roses from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put it right in the middle. Then I'm making sure that everything fits well. It does, so I go ahead and take my sticker off of my cloche top, and I'm going to make sure that the rose is nicely placed, and once it's nice and ready and the size that I want and the height that I want, I add some hot glue to make sure that it sets in place, and then I add some of the mixture of the two mosses to the bottom. Here I had the idea to do like a frosty look to the cloche, so I just dusted it off before I added anything, and then I added some of this Craft Mart sparkle paint. It dries clear. It just shows just some sparkle to it, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. Friends, if you have not done so, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to subscribe. It is free and it means the world to me. So I did that and I put it to dry, and now I'm using some of the same ribbon that I used for the previous DIY, and I'm going to completely put it around the base there, just to give that a little bit more that yellow detail and contrast. As I was adding the ribbon, I was making sure to pull it taut so it will be nice and tight, and then I did a very thin layer of the hot glue onto it to avoid any bulges on the ribbon. I really didn't want to add any hot glue along the entire ribbon to avoid any crinkling, so that's why I made sure to hold it really taut, so I only had to add the glue in only one section. Once that was positioned the way I wanted it, I'm going to use the same ribbon, and I'm going to create a bow just the same way as I created it in the first DIY. This time though, I made sure to put the little piece to cover the jute cord on it before sticking it onto my project. Guys, I was going back and forth with this one, whether or not I wanted to distress it or not. I went with distressing. I used the same brush, a nice little fluffy brush with very little paint on it. And I'm just giving the blue sections just a little dusting of the blue of the white onto the blue, just to break it up a little bit, and I feel like it just gives it a little bit more character. If you're not into this dressing, you are more than welcome to leave out this step. Then this dried, right? And I went to go put it on, and it was a great idea on my head, but look how murky it ended up looking, guys. It just wasn't what I expected. So I got another cloche cover that I had left over from a different DIY, and there it is. You know, nice and simple. Now that I'm happy with it, I'm gonna just add a couple dabs of hot glue to make sure this is secured in place, and that is it. Here it is in all its glory. I love this guy. I was inspired by the Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if you remember that they had the flower like that with the petals falling. I love it. What do you guys think? Let me know. For this one, I'm going to use this candle holder that I got thrifted, and I'm going to paint it with that color right there, the chalk paint, same as I'm using for the entire video. Then I painted this white, and I'm going to come in and take these beads and paint them with that navy blue. I'm going to take one of those Ziploc bags, put my beads in them, put some color in there, some of my chalk paint in there, enough to coat the beads, and I'm just going to swirl them around until they are nicely coated. I'm going for a little marble look on this, so I just put my beads onto some wax paper or parchment paper, and I'm just shaking it about so that way I'm trying to make them into a single layer and try to separate them a bit so they don't dry stuck together. So I'm just using my finger there just to separate them a little bit, and there's a runaway bead but I caught it, put it back there. Then I use a paper to kind of remove some of that paint, but I did a little bit too much removing. So I'm coming in with a brush, putting some more in, and I just dried everything with my little trusty heat gun. Now we're gonna take some jute cord, and I'm going to put a bit of hot glue in the tip of the cord and to make it stiffer so I'm able to thread my beads onto the jute cord. I just went over and threaded everything until I was done with most of the beads. I tested for length around this, and I had enough. So now I'm going to remove that sticker from there. It was held to take that sticker out. And then I'm going to just go ahead and tie together the beads. And I'm going to put it right onto my cloche cover there that came from the Dollar Tree. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove that black section right there that you see in the top. I couldn't do it with my hands, so I used one of these snippers. I held it in place, twisted the one that was inside the cloche, and that made it easy to remove. Once I put my beads on there, I noticed that there was a little bit of a gap of a extra piece of, what do you call it? Of the plastic of the cloche. So once I stuck my beads down with some hot glue, wood hot glue I used for this, I'm going to go ahead and come in with my scissors, and I'm going to cut off all the excess plastic just to have only the space where the beads are as my edges. Then I took one of these wood rounds, and I'm going to paint it navy blue with the same paint, and I'm going to take one of these little, I think these are mushrooms that I got, but I'm going to use it as a little topper. I paint it with the same blue color, and then once both of them were dry, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of wood glue and a little bit of hot wood glue in small sections, and I just stuck it right in the middle of my circle. Make sure to clean up all the extra paint. I wiped off the extra, what do you call it? Glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some hot glue. And there was some sections on here that seemed like I messed up when I was gluing it. So I just went over the paint in those sections right there really quickly. And then I took my wood hot glue, and I'm going to add it to the topping of that little wood piece there. I wish I would have painted that piece before I did that, because you can see it, but if you do recreate this, do that. Okay, so then I took some of my gel super glue, and I added it onto the top of my candle holder in 4 different sections. And then in these sections that didn't have any glue, I put the wood hot glue, and I stuck it right in the inside of my painted pan, trying to do it right at the center. And then I just put my cloche right onto the back end of it. So, but before we get all, comfortable here, I'm going to take some of this Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree, I made sure to take a nice chunky piece and I just stretched it out. I'm creating like a little bed on there. And I just added a whole bunch of hot glue to the top section of this pie pan there, and I'm putting this flat onto this section. I made sure to do my Spanish moss kind of thick so I was not, so, propense to burn in my hand. But you should use protection on here, guys, just to protect yourself against very hot glue burns. And then here I am doing the same concept, but I am stretching my Spanish moss to look more like a ribbon, so I can wrap it around the vertical part there, the raised sections right there of my pan. And I'm just covering up the edges there, trying to put it, to cover most of the white, but at the same time not put it too thick so it doesn't impede the cloche coming back on. I just kept adding it with hot glue, just stretching it and trying to position it in the best way I could. And I just did that, and once I was happy with that, I came in with my scissors, trimmed off some excess there, making sure to have everything nice and even so everything fits into place. Once I was happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and check and see, and it is closing properly, so I'm happy with that. Now we are going to go ahead and come in with some of my floral moss now. So I took some of the floral moss and I'm going to just put it in those places in which I see that the Spanish moss is kind of scanty. And I'm going to do it throughout the entire area where I put the Spanish moss. I just want to create, that illusion of, the grass becoming green again, since that's what happens when spring comes. So just trying to go for that look. And I just did that all along the entire thing until I was happy with the look. My friends, this is a very messy process, but it is fun and rewarding. So just, if you plan on making this, just plan for it. And what I will do differently is just put some kind of plastic underneath so I can just wrap all that mess of moss into that and put it back or toss it. Just make things easier and just have a tiny vacuum, present there to rescue you as well. My friends, as I mentioned before, this video is part of a collaboration, this Spring and Easter cloche collaboration. So make sure that you head on over to my description box below. I also going to try to pin it in my comments for the playlist so you can enjoy everyone's videos. All right, my friends, here I'm just shaking off the excess. I don't want this to be messy later on. So I'm just making sure to get rid of all the little messy, things that were not really stuck on there. And I'm going to just go ahead and position it and fix the little bald areas. Then I took one of these Dollar Tree DIY bunnies, and I'm going to paint it using my white Black & Decker paint and primer, and I'm going to cover it with 2 coats of this. I don't want to put it too thick because I do want to go over and put in those lines of the bunny on later on, so I want that to still be, visible, so I can do that. Once the paint dried, I'm coming in with my Artisa pen pens. I'm using a brown one here, and I'm just outlining the outside of the bunny, these ears and the, the paws, or what do you call that? I guess it's paws. I don't know. Let me know if it's a different thing that you call the feet of the bunny, or bunny foot. I don't know. Anyway, I just, outlined everything using my brown color there, trying to bring some life. I made sure that this is a darker brown. I'm going to be doing something different later on, so I'm just doing all the little details there, including the flowers and the details on the feet. Once I was done with that, I'm going to come in using some of this blue Artisa paint pen, and I'm just going to color in the bunny's eye. Then I'm going to use this pink color, and I'm going to just put a little bit, and I'm going to just put my fingers through it so it kind of looks like watercolors instead of those harsh lines. Then I'm using one of these maple furniture markers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just do small strokes so it looks like the bunny has hair. Once that dried, I just glued 2 tumbling tower blocks to the back of my bunny so I'm able to stand it up. I should have totally painted stain the back of the bunny as well. I will go back and do that later. Once I made sure my bunny could stand, I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and we're going to glue it right on the top of the mountain of grass we got going on there. So then I'm taking the same flowers that I got for, was it the first DIY? Yes, the first DIY. I'm going to use the rest of those, and I'm going to put them around the bunny here, along with some greenery as well. All the products used here from the Dollar Tree besides the candle holder. And here I was just trying to go for that look that you get, you know, when the dandelions are kind of going on your grass and things, even though you don't like them in your grass, but sometimes they do look cute. But anyway, that yellow with the plants growing kind of color, and make it look like the bunny was just hanging out in the garden, just being a bunny. So once I added all my flowers, I try to put it in like different places, but at the same time try to make it look pretty natural. So there was no specific, you know, spacing. And then I put some of those little leaves as well that came from a pick that I used for something else. And there it is. So I decided to distress the candle holder as well to go with everything else. I really like that marble look. So I used the same fluffy brush, and I just, you know, dabbed it onto very lightly onto the candle holder until I had the same beautiful marble look that my beads had. And like a mathematical equation, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So I did the same thing to the little topper on top of the cloche, so it all came together. And here it is. Oh my God, guys, I can't. Oh my goodness, I can't. This is so stinking cute. I am so loving this thing. I don't know. I love it. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.